Hello audience and welcome back. So today we're going to be working on a 1998 Chevrolet S10 and we're going to be replacing the blower motor. So let's go see how difficult that's going to be. Okay guys, so let's get started. The very first thing you want to do, of course, is disconnect the negative terminal on your battery. And this side post just so happens to take an 8mm. After you disconnect that, make sure that you push it down out of the way so it's not reconnecting with the battery at any time. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is go ahead and start removing the bolts for the ECU, or the computer, and also the overflow tank. If I remember correctly, I think this was a 10mm. Now also, when you're taking the bolts loose for the reservoir, there's these weird little square things underneath, kind of like a nut. It's up in the fender well there, and you kind of have to hold that while you unscrew those bolts. Then you have a hidden bolt here underneath the coolant tube. Alright, so on the ECU you get these two little bolts here that hold the two connectors in place. Just loosen those up, pull those off, and of course when you pull them off, be very careful. You don't want to damage any of the prongs, and of course you want to check the connectors to make sure the connectors are, make sure that they look good, make sure they look clean, they don't have any corrosion or anything on them. And also you want to make sure that you do not lose your gasket. Make sure you put that back in place. Keep any moisture or anything from getting in. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and unhook the connector from the blower motor. And you can go ahead and pull all this wiring over to the side, get it out of the way. You've also got a secondary little hose down here that has a very annoying little clip that you can remove with a flathead screwdriver. Now, there's a few different ways that you can do this. I happen to have one of those little hand pumps, so I just used it to pump all the coolant out of the overflow tank, because when you unhook that lower line, it will, of course, leak out. So I just went ahead and emptied that out to make things easier. Then of course, after it's all empty, you can go ahead and disconnect that lower hose and pull the overflow coolant tank out. Now I was hoping it wasn't going to give me any trouble, but as you can see with that little bolt right there, it was not going to let the blower motor come out. So what I had to do was take a screwdriver and lift this one little tab right here a little bit, and then I just took an extension and gave it a little love tap, and that loosened it up enough to be able to get the blower motor out. Now I did not fully remove it because that would have made it much harder to put back into place whenever you go to reassemble it. I just wanted it loosened up a little bit so I could get that off. So the old blower motor, obviously, as you can see here, was really difficult to turn. It was just shot. The new one, however, can turn much more easily. So of course, putting everything back together is pretty much the exact opposite of how you took everything off. Now, of course, you want to rotate the blower motor so that way the connector is on the top, which it has kind of like a little dowel pin on the top of it, so that way you really can't place it in there any other way. Alright guys, that's pretty much about it. So pretty easy job. I hope this helped somebody. And if it didn't, well, at least I hope it entertained someone. So thank you guys so much for watching, and of course stay tuned for some bloopers. See you guys later. I'm curious exactly as to how the hell. Seriously, just move. Ow, son of a. Ta-da!